Tuperos y tuperas, today on DOOP By The River, we're going to discuss what went down in the USL that has the whole world shooken up. We're also going to talk about one of our own get an international call-up? What? We're going to dive into the Inter Miami match, which saw our unity prevail, and then we're also going to look ahead at the Toronto FC matchup that is going to be huge for all of us in Duke Nation. Don't go anywhere, guys, because you do not want to miss this episode of Duke by the River. And let's get this started. Go! And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Duke by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. And before we move forward, guys, do not forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. We would love every bit of ounce of love that you guys can send over our way. It would truly mean the world to us. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I am brought back by my right-hand man. He's got the big Philadelphia Union flag right behind him. My man, Mr. Tim Lumagoo. What's going on, Tim? How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling good. We got lots of soccer to talk about,
Yes,
lots
sir.
of happening in the sports world and Philadelphia and everything in life. So, hey, I'm just happy to be here and to maybe distract ourselves a little bit with some soccer talk.
Who said bad things happen in Philadelphia, Tim?
I don't know, but they might want to talk to Gritty because I don't think they're having
He's got a word to say. Yes, sir. Awesome stuff. All right, Tim, well, let's just dive right into it, man. Very powerful moment happened last night, and the USL. Shouts out to all my USL fans who stay up and watch all those games, especially the Doopy brothers, always giving me my YouTube updates. Those guys are staying on top of that. Thank you so much for that. But, and more importantly, last night, San Diego Loyal facing off against Phoenix Rising. The game ended very early. During the game, one of the members of Phoenix Rising, one of the players, threw out a gay slur towards openly gay midfielder for San Diego, Colin Martin, which it was kind of surprising. What transpired after that? Some crazy stuff said by the referees. What was more crazier, what was said by the coach by Phoenix. If you haven't seen the video clip, definitely check it out. I'll make sure to retweet it on the Duke by the River Twitter account so you guys can check it out. But the fact of the matter is, Tim, there was a gay slur said on the pitch. Okay, the coach did not take full responsibility for what the player had said, and the referee. Tim, where the hell was he? My man was lost. I want to get your thoughts because before the air, you said some really powerful things. What was your thoughts on this action that went down last night?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this has no place in any sport, and especially in soccer.
Amen, brother. Amen.
I mean, there in sports, there's always, the kind of, talking that happens between teams. You're trying to get under the other people's skin, whatever. But when you attack someone so personally on that kind of level, whether it be homophobic or racially, that we've seen in the sport of soccer now, it just doesn't have any place. My original thought, I actually saw these videos as I woke up this morning. I got up and I was, ready just to have a morning cup of coffee and just start my day and, look on Twitter and seeing all these videos of an argument.
That must have ruined your cup of coffee, Tim.
It did, yeah. I mean, you see this argument between these two coaches and referees, and there's no accountability. I'll give props to the San Diego coach, Landon Donovan. I mean, obviously we know what he's done on the pitch.
We all know him very well.
But he was standing up for his player that was abused on the field. It was right before halftime. There were cameras there that caught all of it. And he was basically saying, like, to the referees, like, one, how did you not hear that? Like, and then things that I only saw a little bit. I didn't want to dive too deep into it because it was infuriating to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the San Diego player, there was a San Diego player that got sent off, I think right before halftime because they lashed out against that physically, which isn't great, but I get it. And so I think that was what kind of prompted the awkward conversation that happened there. But yeah, no, the referee kept saying over and over that he didn't understand what was said, and I'm not going to repeat the slur here, but if you heard it, you you would kind of get what the person was trying to say. Like, it's not that hard to understand. And Landon Donovan actually tried to explain it to the referee multiple times.
Who would have
And the
thought?
referee still didn't really get. He's like, "Oh, I didn't hear that, or I don't get it." No, no, you're just not watching what happened. And then the Phoenix coach was not really owning up to it either. But I really give all the props in the world to Landon Donovan for starting that conversation there and being like, okay, well, we're going to go into the locker room now because it's halftime. We're winning 3-1, but we're going to talk this over as a team and we're going to decide what to do. If this player isn't sent off, we're not going to continue to play. And after halftime, the player wasn't sent off by the referee. The Phoenix coach didn't do anything to really own up to it. So Landon forfeited the game. And this is the second week in a row he's had to do it for his team in USL. I know we don't follow it much, but last week too, one of his players was racially abused by an LA Galaxy 2 player. LA Galaxy 2 did a little bit more than what happened in this one. They cut the player this past week, but that's now 2 games that they forfeited in a row in a playoff contention year for them, which is crazy. But I give all the props to Landon for doing it because there's no room for this in our sport.
100%. Like you nailed everything on the head. And what I will say is that, look, the USL is not the MLS, right? But the USL still represents American soccer. So this is a black eye for our community as a whole. And like what you just said last week, racial slurs getting thrown. This week, gay slurs. Like both of these things need to be taken out of our game. Like this has absolutely no place in our game. And I really want to commend Landon Donovan. Like we knew as a player he was an excellent leader on the pitch and off the pitch. And as a coach, Tim, still a fantastic leader. The way he handled the situation, stood by his guy. He already had my respect, but he is on a whole nother level right now. I just want to get a little personal, guys. I want to get a little deep here. And I know we want to talk about the union, but this is conversations that we do need to have. I am a heterosexual man as they come. I love my women, and that doesn't change the fact that I love my fellow human beings, no matter what sexual preference you are. And it's crazy how people don't understand the struggle gay people have had to go through their whole entire lives. Like imagine like having to hide about your sexual preference. Like just imagine yourself if you're a straight person out there, imagine having to hide the fact that you're in love with someone because they may be the same gender or maybe a little different or whatnot. At the end of the day, you shouldn't judge someone off of their sexual preference. And this to me was really, upsetting to see because I love this sport and I love what American soccer represents in 2020. This is not American soccer. I don't know what the hell that was last night, but I commend Landon Donovan and I will continue standing up for, for anyone who is racially abused and anyone who is sexually, or I shouldn't say sexually abused, but just discriminated for their sexual preference, I should say. So this definitely was a bad black eye, man. But um, like any situation, Tim, there's always a positive, and I think that there was a positive last night. Let's not get things twisted. This goes on gay slurs get thrown around in sports in general, but it's important that we don't allow it to happen, man.
Yeah, yeah, it just needs to be. It needs to be a thing of the past. And I think in the sport of soccer specifically, if this is getting blown out of proportion, going viral the way that it is, maybe more coaches do this in the future. And while that's kind of tough to take because that means maybe your team loses 3 points or a point or a chance at the playoffs or a chance at even a championship, like it just needs to happen. Like if these things happen in sports, especially in soccer, we've seen it even on the global stage with the racial things when fans are in stadiums and making monkey chants at players. Like instead of just one player being outraged, no, the team just needs to walk off a field because it's just not. There's no room for it. We're here to play a game. We're here to express our love for this sport, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't matter what you are, how you feel, what's your sexual orientation. Like it's not part of the game.
Absolutely. Tim, I always say, like, in this world, we're all in this together. We may look different, but we still are trying to survive day in and day out. There's no need to look at someone differently because of their color, the color of their skin, or their sexual orientation, just like you said.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And it's important too that we continue having these conversations. We were talking off the air. In the other four major sports here in America, I bet you that there are players who are still in the closet, but because of the culture that, these sports, I don't want to say that they advertise, but it's just the culture that these sports have had for decades and decades. How
yeah,
many players are still stuck in that closet because they are scared and they don't want to come out?
yeah,
Think about that, guys. Just think about that. Keep that in mind. But I'm glad we definitely had these conversations, Tim. It's very important to have, and we'll see what I think next now, Tim, is seeing what the USL does as far as
yeah,
actions and disciplinary actions, which we will keep an eye out. But I hope the USL takes care of this because right now it is a black eye for that league, which I don't watch often, but I'm a fan, and I hope it does well. And I hope it succeeds. It's important that we
yeah.
have that league succeeding. All right. Any last words, Tim, on this before we move forward?
No, I think you hit it on the head there. Just maybe to add one more thing, like this is the developmental league in many ways for MLS and for American soccer. So, like you said, if this is not handled well by the league, it kind of shows that this is okay, and it's not. So I'm sure the league will do something about it. We'll just have to kind of wait and see and follow it a little bit more closely now. Yeah.
100%, 100%. All right, guys. Well, let's move forward here. Again, great conversation, but let's talk about our team here. And before we dive into reviews and previews, we had some pretty big news here today, Tim.
Yeah.
A country next to my favorite country other than the United States, Venezuela, announced their call-ups for this upcoming World Cup qualifiers, which they will be playing by Colombia. And Tim, one of those players, he happens to be our starting defensive midfielder, Jose Brujo Martinez.
Yeah.
He got called up, man. And so, from what it looks like, he will be missing about 5 matches after Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so obviously, this is a huge loss. Jose has emerged as our starting number six. At the beginning of the season, a lot of us thought it was going to be sexy season. I didn't have faith in that. Warren Craval got the start, and then in the LAFC game, Jose Brujo Martinez got his opportunity, and he really didn't let it go. And he's been playing so well, and it's crazy. About 3 weeks ago, a Venezuelan soccer fan who happens to follow me and show love to me on Instagram, he was telling me after I posted on my story the World Cup qualifiers in South America, and Colombia versus Venezuela is one of the first games, and he was like, your Brujito is going to be beating up on your Colombia. And I was like, wait, Ben Bruno's not going to get a call up? Jose's not getting a call by Venezuela. He just came to MLS. But he's been playing really well, and Venezuela has been taking notice. Tim, your thoughts on Jose getting a call up? It's kind of weird because of the year we've had. We didn't expect players to get called up and play for their national teams, but here we are.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's great for El Brujo to get this
Exactly.
experience. I think this would be either his. I think this is his first call up, second call up, maybe just his first to the full national team. I'd have to really
Yeah.
check in it.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's his first for the senior team.
Okay. I mean, then yeah, it's a huge accomplishment, and he should be really, excited to go and excited that everything that was going on with MLS is allowing him to go. Because I know there was talk a few days ago about possibly players not being able to leave their clubs to go play and then come back to the States. It was a whole thing, but that now MLS players are definitely going. So that is great there. I think it's a great opportunity for him. As we were kind of saying off air, I don't believe that we'll see him start, but
Yeah.
who knows? So yeah, their first game is against Colombia, like you said, on October 9th, and that, I'd assume that means that he'd have to leave here after this Saturday. And yeah, I think when's the second game that they play? They play a second game, so they play on the 9th against Colombia, and then they play their second game against Paraguay on the 13th. So yeah, I mean, there's just 2 games for the Union in between those games, and then you take into account the travel and then the quarantining that has to happen. Probably a 10-day quarantine, I think, is what MLS requires. So if
Mhm.
after the ninth he kind of comes right back, yeah, we could see him missing 5 games and not come back until the end of October, maybe the 1st of November against Columbus, which would be a big match for him to come back for.
Yeah, so here's the thing, Tim. I'm looking at the call up here, the call up list for Venezuela.
Yeah.
When it comes to Venezuela, I believe that they like to run a 4-2-3-1 with the national team, from what I've
Mhm.
seen in the past. So what that would mean is Tomas Rincon, who plays for Torino and Serie A, he's a lock. He has to be a lock for one of those defensive midfield positions.
Mhm.
The other one, not sure. You do have guys like Junior Moreno here. I don't know how good he is. I don't know any of these other players that are on here, but th- I'm not going to say that he won't get an opportunity. I think just from looking at this, there could be a possibility, especially with the way he has been playing. He's been playing pretty
Yeah.
well, even though it is MLS. You can't deny his ability for what he's been doing. He's been dominating, tracking balls down as far as the defensive side of playing that position. But also, we've seen his ability to distribute and pass the ball. Those are different. Those are definitely things that Venezuelan coach Jose Peserio is going to value for El Brujito. So
Yeah.
it should be interesting to see. Obviously, look, like I said on Twitter, I don't want to be selfish. I understand, especially as a South American, I understand what it means to represent your country. It's literally everything. Like we have players in Colombia that'll drop their club just to come play for Colombia. So I completely understand. And another note, Tim,
Yeah.
it's gonna be interesting to see some sideline talk. I want to see our boy Fernando Aristigueta.
Yes.
It also got a call up. A
Yeah.
little former Union
I was
chats on the sideline, man.
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, it was a lot of Union fans forget about him because he's a young
Oh,
deep.
I don't.
He didn't. I mean, he played a few games. He scored a few goals. He looked okay. He's obviously not the type of striker to be a lone striker when the Union were playing a 4-2-3-1. But he's kind of made a little career for himself now after he went away from the Union and he came back to South America. He's playing in Mexico now, and he looks like he's doing
Moriela.
well. Yeah.
Yeah, well for him, I think it started when he came to my Colombian squad, America de Cali. He was like a
Mhm.
gold, like I think he won a golden boot with America de Cali, and then he got sold to Morelias. But yeah, that should be really fun to see. So look, it's gonna suck not seeing him on there because I think we've all fallen in love with his play.
Yeah.
But this is what you want to see, man. And of course, with our Americans, like you want to see Brandon get the call ups, you want to see Mark
Mhm.
get those call ups as well. So these are definitely good things to see, man.
Yeah, and I think we'll definitely be talking about this more as we get more confirmation of when he does go. But we get to then talk about who gets to step up into his place. Like you were saying, you didn't really you weren't on that sexy season flow at the beginning of
Where
the
is
year.
he, Tim? Tim,
Hey,
where is he?
he fell out of favor with the coach, and then when the team came back from Orlando, he actually was with his country, with his U21s playing. He played some games with his country. They let him go there. I can't remember off the top of my head where he plays right now. But anyways, he was actually playing center back for them when he was on the pitch. So he plays center back and D mid. So hey, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, no, I mean, this could be a chance for him. He was on the bench last game. Maybe they were
Okay.
knowing that this came, this was coming, and it's time for him to maybe step up, or they'll roll with Warren, or they'll throw Mark McKenzie or
I
Jack
was gonna
Evans,
say too. That'd be
or
crazy.
they'll throw one of those guys at the six because Jim Curtin, does what he wants to do with that. And if a player's in Curtin's doghouse, it sometimes takes miraculous things to get them out of the doghouse, like how Fontana had to score worldly goals just to get out of the doghouse.
That's one doghouse you do not want to be in, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move forward here. Our team got done playing on Sunday, dude. That was a performance. The Philadelphia Union hosted Inter Miami for the first time in franchise history at the Sub, and we put the spanking on them, Tim. 3-0,
Three.
3-0. an absolute screamer from Fontana, Elcina with a nice sliding crossing goal, and then Brendan Aronson with the absolute authority on that last goal. Dude, I was absolutely going out of my mind after that. And you guys got to remember my mindset on Sunday, right? As a dedicated, sometimes depressed 5 for 5 Philly sports fan, Sunday was not fun. I saw my Eagles get a tie. No. I'm not lying. My Eagles actually tied the Cincinnati Bengals. The Phillies needed just one measly game, one measly win, just to make the playoffs, and they couldn't even freaking do that. And then the Union. Thank you, Philadelphia. Thank you, Philadelphia, for making my Sunday, putting the spanking on Inter Miami. Before we get into Mr. Higuain's situation, what was your thoughts on this performance, man? It was beautiful, dude.
The Union saved Philadelphia on Sunday.
Yet again.
He saved Philadelphia on Sunday. Like, we're used to seeing ties. We're not used to seeing it in football. And the football people are like, what the fuck is a tie? Like, I don't know what a tie is. What is it? And then the Phillies, like, wasn't it? Didn't they only need like a run?
They needed no, Tim. Listen, in the last week, all they needed was 2 wins, and they only got one.
Right.
In the last.
That was it. So still, yeah. Phillies, no, they're done now too. And then the Union came in. They're like, no, we're going to go up against this European superstar striker. It's his first game. Everyone wants to see him score goals. He almost scores a bicycle kick goal on one of his first touches. Luckily he didn't. But then after that, they shut him down all game, and then they dominated a 3-0 win. It's just, you love to see it. You love to see it.
Absolutely, man. 100%, dude. So look, when it comes to Mr. Gonzalo Higuain, what an absolute shit show. Now, guys, listen. I have an appreciation. I have a certain love for Napoli in Italy, and I remember the days when Napoli signed him on, and he was probably one of the best goal scorers in Napoli history, and he freaking left Napoli for Juve, their arch rival, and like that right there. Like, listen, anytime a player leaves the team for a rival, that should tell you what type of character that type of player has. Like, I don't care you're making millions and millions of euros. Where's your loyalty, brother? Where's your loyalty? And then, so the incident I want to refer to because of the shenanigans after the PK. So, was it 2 years ago, 2018, I think it was, Juve sent Higuain to AC Milan for half a season loan. And Milan plays Juve, and Higuain got in with, I think it was Chiellini, or it might have been Bonucci, and he is flipping out. There's spit coming out of his mouth. He's flipping out. He's all red. And that it just reminded me of that situation. But I'm so glad we got in Higuain's head. For every European player that wants to come here, wants to think that this MLS is a cakewalk, this is your retirement league, no. This is the league where you still got to work. It might not be as fast as physical as a Serie A or Premier League or La Liga or whatever, but you still got to come here and work, man. What was your thoughts on the Higuain situation?
My thoughts on Higuain in general was when the reports were coming out that he, his first game would be probably against Philly. I was like, oh, if I was MLS, I would tell him to like wait a game, like to make David Beckham be like, nah, you don't want Philly right now. Like, no, they're assholes. Like, they're just gonna get under your skin. Like, they just press, and they're just gonna press you, and they're gonna push you, and they're gonna not respect you because even though you're this $1 million, millions of dollars worth of striker, like, no, like, you don't come here and get instant respect, especially in Philly. My first takeaway was this was to be expected. If the Union wanted to show that they're one of the best teams in MLS this year, they're going to have to boss this game and this team that brought in stars. And they did just that. McKenzie and Glesnes had Higuain in their pocket all night. He was very frustrated every time he was touching the ball with his back to goal. He couldn't turn. Every time he was able to kind of maybe get a little bit of separation and get a shot off, someone was stepping to him, so they didn't let him get too far away. The only chance he really had was he had that attempt of an overhead kick goal in the box where they just kind of forgot to mark him, which obviously you can't do because he scored a bicycle kick on his first attempt in MLS. But No, yeah, he was definitely feeling it, and then when it came to the PK, he uh, he just wasn't feeling it, blasted it into the stands, and I think that the Union players had a little bit of juice after that, for sure.
Tim, so here's my thing, right? First off, keep underestimating Philadelphia. We love it. Keep underestimating us. We feed off of that. But it's just funny, Tim, how we don't really spend that much money here in Philly, right? But
Right.
Miami, going out and getting Higuain, going out and getting Blasi Matuidi, Rolfo Pizarro, right? The coach Diego Alonso, and yet in the week. Let's look at the week as a whole. Wednesday night, they get killed by a Red Bull team that, let's face it, they're not as strong as what we've seen the past couple of years. 4-1, and then they lose to us 3-0, 7-1 in a whole week. After all the money you're putting down on this team, dude, I get it's your first year, but dude, come on. We're showing you the way to build teams here, MLS. We're showing you the way.
Yeah, the problem is that it's not the sexy way, and it really isn't. Like you like I'm looking at the lineup breakdown from this match, and you look at the Miami team, and you see in the spine of their team Higuain, Pizarro, Matuidi, and then even Gonzalez Perez in the back line, who we forget about, like because he didn't really do anything in the match. Luckily for the Union, and then even Luis Robles. So you have those few like MLS experienced defenders and goalkeeper,
Wild.
and then world class players up the middle, and you get one goal in 2 games against the Red Bulls. And I mean the Union are a very good team this year, but I thought that they had a pretty good opportunity to at least get a goal, even before the penalty. I thought Miami was kind of in it when the Union were up 1-0. I thought that Miami pressed and they probably should have scored at some point, but they couldn't get their opportunities.
Thank you, absolutely, thank you, man. When it comes to Miami, it just kind of feel it's like a team that it's just overthinking things, and they just like they're just not showing up. Fact of the matter, because we know they have the talent, but to be
Oh yeah.
losing like this, man, that no, dude, I didn't even expect this. I really did not even expect this from Miami.
Well, we'll see what they do here in their final stretch. 10 teams from the East make the playoffs this year in a weird
Crazy.
format. So who knows? They could sneak in and maybe do something with the talent that they have. But yeah, they're gonna have to start showing what that is here.
Mm-hmm. Man, this MLS playoffs is just gonna be like a March Madness tournament.
Sort of, yeah.
Awesome stuff, guys. All right, Tim. So let's look ahead, man. So that's that. We got a nice another win. We're rolling, Tim. We're
Yeah.
freaking rolling. But we have a very important match coming up on Saturday, Tim. Saturday night, guys. Saturday night football. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Your Philadelphia Union are traveling up to not Toronto, Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut to be exact, to face off against Toronto FC, who are pretty much almost tied with us in the tables in
Yeah.
second place. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is an important match. Probably the most important match since the Columbus match we had a couple of weeks ago. That did not go in our way. But Tim, I have to believe that the stretch that we just had, this team is going to show up against this Toronto team in Hartford, where the University of Connecticut plays. So it should be interesting to see. I guess let's start off, Tim, with how do the Union beat Toronto FC?
Yeah, I mean that has been the question for Philly over the last few years is how do you beat Toronto FC? It's
Did
usually
it last year in
they
Toronto.
they did do it last year, and that was a shocker. And it's sort of the blueprint of what they'll have to do again. But when you look at Toronto, you usually think of Altidore and Bradley kind of controlling the game, and then their backline being solid enough to kind of only let in like maybe one goal. But yeah, right now they don't have Michael Bradley; he's out injured. Josie Altidore is playing, but he's still probably the best American striker that there is, but he's lost a little bit. They have Ayo Akinola, who's kind of stepped up as a striker to, on the rise or a winger. They play him at the wing sometimes. Obviously, they have Pozuelo and Piatti, who are their creative playmakers. So I think what the Union have to do is really do what they did last year. I know it won't be actually in Toronto, but what the Union did last year to win that game was counter and to pick the right time to really go forward and to be compact on the defensive end. Toronto loves to control the ball and to try to spread it wide, spread teams out, and then cross it into to Altidore or to Pozuelo or Akinola or whoever will make that run. If the Union can really deal with that and then, spring a counter, we saw it was I think Jamiro and Casper kind of connected on a good goal last year in Toronto to seal the win.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So if they can really, find that form again, and we've seen the Union recently, there's no reason that they can't hold off Toronto and then find their way to score a goal, whether it be, the starters are getting it or they bring Fontana or Elsinho off the bench and they come in and score a goal. I think the depth and the style of play that the Union have really are clicking, which is why they are where they are. And, Toronto is in the same spot, but I don't really think they should really be considered at the same spot. And their first string of games coming back from Orlando was only against Montreal and Vancouver. So they got a lot of points from those matches. They didn't drop too many. So yeah, I mean, they beat Columbus last week, a very good win against Columbus.
Yeah, man.
But I think this game, the Union should be able to really find their stride like they have been in games past.
I hope so, man. And I like every time I play Toronto, I feel like I always say it's like if the Union can eliminate the mistakes, we should be able to win the game. And
Yeah.
I would say the same again. If we eliminate the mistakes, the Union should win this game. And the way they have been playing, it's been sound soccer. It's been, of course, this whole season, it's been the physicality of this Union team.
Hmm.
We need that physicality to come up. You need guys like Brendan Aronson. Fontana when he comes off the bench now. Like, who would have thought
Yeah.
we would be saying that?
Yeah.
It's crazy because last week when Jeff was on, Tim, we were talking about Jamiro.
Hmm.
Jamiro hasn't been, it hasn't been the same form from what we saw last season.
Yeah.
I, I want this to be the game for him to show up. A critical matchup. Table standings are on the line here. I want Jamiro to step up and be that Jamiro we saw last season. Even better. I want to see him create a little more. Too many mistakes I've seen from him, to be honest with you. So I want this to be the Jamiro game. If we
Yeah.
can do that, dude, I think we're going to win. I really think that we're going to win. Just from what I have seen from this Union team, they are the strongest team in the MLS. I see the website power rankings between MLS.com and ESPN. I see the 1 and 2. So we're getting
Hmm.
the respect. Let's show them what we're made of, guys.
Yeah, and I think it's great that you brought up Jamiro. As we saw last year, he was the difference in this match.
Exactly.
If he can find that form, it's been a little bit off this year. I think he's kind of feeling the weight of being really the only designated player. Wearing that number 10 shirt because he wanted to be that guy. He wanted to be the guy that
Show
created.
us, man. Show
Yeah,
us.
he does need to show us a little bit, and I get his legs are a little bit heavy. He's played every game; he hasn't had a rest. He's now had this. This is one of the only. There's 2 times in the rest of the season that the Union have a full kind of week to prepare for a game and to rest and to train. So if he can really take advantage of that, I think he should be the linchpin for this team. And if the Union can get a win and then, something happens with Columbus and they draw or they lose, then we're talking about a first place Union team and a Union team that is leading the supporter shield race.
Hey now. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's get on that supporter shield, huh? All right.
2 points off it. 2 points off
Let's
of
do
first,
it,
two
dude.
points off of the supporter shield. I mean, why not at this point? It's the home stretch. You got lots of games in quick succession. Who knows what can happen?
Dude, you got me excited here. Um, I guess my other question is, what's Santos's form going to be like in this game? I know he's been dealing with the injury.
Yeah.
When Santos is healthy, him and Casper are the matchup up top that I want to see for our Philadelphian. So I'm going to be looking out for him. Hopefully he does he continues. I haven't heard anything on as far as the injury report goes. So
I think
hopefully,
he's doing all right. On the injury front, I believe that Jack Elliott is also back to full training. Ray Gaddis, who's still been dealing with a little bit of an injury, I think was questionable. I think that was the determination from the coaches and the trainers. So yeah, I mean, there's good news. We get to maybe see Jack Elliott come back, and even if he's just on the bench, at least you have that extra really good center back or a number
oh
six.
yeah.
If you want to play him there, he played there in college. Who knows?
Let's see. Hey, that'd be cool to see. It would definitely be cool to see there. So yeah, I want to see some Sergio Santos fireworks for sure, man. My last point on the Toronto preview here. So we're gonna be playing in another college football stadium.
Oh yeah,
Last time we played there was at when we were playing Nippert Stadium last Wednesday. I haven't seen the stadium yet. I haven't seen Toronto play it on it yet. I just hope that we don't get another bad turf field. I'm just thinking because both, whatever they call the Yukon Stadium and Nippert Stadium, both were in the Big East when I was watching college football. And Nippert Stadium obviously is not what it used to be, and I'm assuming that the Yukon Stadium is going to be in the same kind of I guess form as well. So that should definitely be in consideration as far as something that's going to, affect the outcome of the game here. So we will see how that stadium looks, but hopefully it's better than Yankee Stadium. That's all we hope for, just being better than Yankee Stadium there. All
yeah.
right, Tim, what's your final prediction here, man?
Um, my final prediction here. Actually, I was just while you were talking about that, I wanted to check. So I want to bring this up first. It actually looks like this surface is a grass surface, not a turf surface.
Yes.
So, well, I mean, it still could be beat up. It's an old college football field, so we'll see what it looks. At least it's grass, so that's good. But my final take for the match itself is I think it's going to be like every Union Toronto match. It's going to be gritty. It's gonna be, kind of fast paced, a lot of back and forth. Toronto will try to hold on to the ball more than Philly. Philly will, look to absorb the pressure and go out on the break and find, Santos with his speed, or if it's Montero linking up with Casper, or even Brendan Aronson, on a run like we saw if he can pick someone's pocket and then make them pay. I think that'll kind of be the determining factors there. For a prediction in this game, if I really had to give one, I see this one ending in a 2-2 draw. Uh,
Wow.
I want the Union to win, obviously, badly, because I think this weekend could be the time we see the Union go top of the East in MLS. But just knowing that Toronto is that team that always makes a late season run or a playoff run. They have the chip on their shoulder of not really having any more home games, even though this is their home right now. They have the talented attacking players. We saw what they just did to Columbus. Everyone was saying, "Oh, you only played Montreal and Vancouver. You're not that good." Well, we just beat Columbus. So I think that they're good for 2 goals, and then I think the Union are also good to score as well. So I think they split the points here, and both teams stay in second and third place respectively.
Wow. Okay. 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 I think a little differently. I agree. I think it's going to be a back and forth game. This is going to be really physical. Anytime it's Philly and Toronto, honestly, in any sport, it's
Yeah,
pretty chippy. It's
yeah,
definitely pretty chippy. I do think that this Union team is for real, and we're getting into the nitty gritty part of the season. We're getting close to the playoffs. This Union team turned up once we got closer to the playoffs. I think that this is going to be the same exact thing. I see the Union winning in a low scoring one. I see a
okay.
2-1 victory by our boys in blue. I see Casper getting a goal. And listen, Tim, I'm a believer in Jameer. I think he's going to get a goal here too. This needs to be his game. He needs to turn up because listen, if we want to make a playoff run, I need him to step. We all need him to step up and
Yeah,
be some sort of a shadow of what he was last season, for us to go far. So, Union, please get this W again. Philadelphia might need you again, so please get the W here. Awesome stuff. All right, Tim. Well, before we sign off this episode here, I want to talk to you and my fellow American soccer fans worldwide. You guys, another win. You guys had a
Yep.
lot of wins over the past year, I would say.
Yeah.
But U.S. men's national team, I guess you could say player. You can't call him a prospect anymore.
Yeah.
Serginho Dest signs on with Barcelona.
Yep.
That is huge, dude. Absolutely huge. Now we were talking off the air. Conrad de la Fuente is over there right now, but this is a guy who, I think it's easy to say that he's in Greg Berhalter's future plans, right?
For sure. Yes. He
And
better
he's
be.
playing.
If he's
Yeah,
not, I don't know what they're thinking.
we got some other issues, but
Yeah.
dude, this is huge. I want to give this platform for you because obviously this is big for you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this, man?
I mean, it's just been great to see the path from the 2018 World Cup disappointment of not qualifying to where some of the players that were there and now some of the future players are playing in the world. Well, Dest signing for Barcelona is amazing, and he was great with Ajax over the last few years as well. But so great at Ajax that he had Barcelona and Bayern Munich playing tug of war, trying to get him. Like both teams wanted to sign him to start as their outside back. Like like
That's
that's amazing. That's
crazy.
amazing. And then you look, just across the player pool in general, like Weston McKennie making the move to Juventus, and he started both the games that they've played in the league so far for them. You look at, I mean, Christian Pulisic is injured right now, obviously, but he's in Chelsea. He's, up there being, chosen to be a starter, a great player for the Premier League in the future here. Got Tyler Adams at Red Bull Leipzig, balling out, scoring goals in the Champions League. Just this week, or last few weeks too, Zach Steffen, the ex-Columbus crew keeper, is, with Manchester City, and he started games in the Carabao Cup for them. So like
Wow.
everyone's getting their chances, and maybe we'll see Brendan Aronson over at RB Salzburg here
Part of the
in
future.
part of the future. We're talking about to Champions League as well. If Brendan makes that move, Salzburg are in Group A of the Champions League, going up against Bayern, your Atletico Madrid, and then Lokomotiv Moscow. So hey, like that would be pretty cool to see BA going up against some of the European greats there, even against Bayern for sure, going up against Alphonso Davies.
That would be absolutely. And like, look, we Tim, we always talk about this. Like for me, obviously, I just want to see the U.S. men's national team be good. I
Yeah,
want Colombia to win everything, but this is important for our league. For you talk about, what was it? Did Pulisic go through? No, he didn't go through any youth MLS youth
no,
academy, right?
he would have been part of the in a perfect world, part of the Union Academy if it was the right time because he's in Hershey, but it didn't
Oh
work.
man.
Zach,
Oh man.
no, Zach Steffen was part of the Union Academy in the early days. Before he wanted to go play in Europe. The Union were going to try to sign him as well, but they had just drafted Andre Blake. They had Zach McMath, and that was when they signed Rice and Boley as well. So Zach Steffen was like, "Nah, I'm not going to play Philly if they have three keepers already." Uh, but yeah, little tidbit there too.
But this is absolutely huge for our
Yeah.
league, and like you still got Josh Sargent, who I
Oh
have high
yeah.
hopes for in Werder Bremen. He's gonna get his playing time this year. Like this
He's
is it's
yeah.
put up or shut up time for him in Werder Bremen this season.
He's the
You
striker
got
of the future. He's going to have to take over for Josie at some point. I remember I watched all the youth national team World Cups over the last few years, and there was the one time he went out and I think it was the U17 World Cup and just took it by storm. I'm pretty sure he either tied or won the Golden Boot in that one.
oh
And
shit.
like yeah, like he was putting in work for sure.
Tim Way is one guy
Yes.
I really was high on, and I really want to see him do well. Injuries have been killing him, but he's been getting playing time with Lille, so
Yeah.
hopefully he does show up. And then obviously Gio Reyna has been doing the
Oof.
work with Dortmund. He so the possibility of him playing on one side of a wing with Pulisic on the other side is that what could possibly
Maybe
happen?
he could also play the 10, which I wouldn't mind at all if they shifted more to like maybe like a 4-3-3. And yeah, like I would love it. I would love that. We'll have to see because I mean you can't also discredit what Jordan Morris is doing in MLS. He's on a
It's very
tear.
true.
He deserves playing time as well with those guys. So,
He's a
but yeah,
mastermind.
the future is bright for the U.S. men's national team. Hopefully, all these players are playing in the right places. They're playing with world class players. Some of the greatest to ever play the game in Ronaldo and now Messi. We're seeing those guys learn from them. So hopefully it translates into some good things to come down the road. We got Gold Cup next year, World Cup qualifying. Everything is kind of congested now because of
Good for you
COVID.
guys.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a big year in 2021 into 2022. So we'll see what happens, and we'll try to keep everything up to date at Philly Sports Network as well with that.
Absolutely. Thank God for soccer, man.
Yeah,
All right, Tim, any last words for our listeners?
I do. I'm bringing it back to MLS and this weekend. And not the Union match. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Columbus match for this weekend. So Columbus is taking on FC Dallas at Dallas this weekend. So my last word is to Fafa Pico. We know that you still love the Philadelphia Union. So you're going to go out there and you're going to start. And I don't care that you've played 10 games and only scored one goal. You're going to go get a hat trick against Columbus to help the
Yes,
Union
sir.
somehow get the first place in the East and the Supporter Shield after this weekend. That's my
Think
last.
about us, Fafa. Think about us. We still love you, Fafa. One day come back, please. Good stuff there. I like that. I like that. Guys, thank you so much for listening. From all of us here at PSN, it really truly means the world to us. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. It would truly mean the world to us. That is Tim Lovinguth. I am a Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to dupe on. We'll talk to you guys very soon.